right, so how do we process all those transactions, do everything we just talked about, save money and make money at the same time? Easy. So let's walk through this. So we did say we've got 10,000 transactions a second. So if we just hypothetically charge 25 cents per transaction, now I want to talk about this for a second. We can set this transaction fee through a vote. We can use V12 to vote, and that vote determines what this transaction fee will be. So this is also determined by voting. So anyway, so we take 25 cents per transaction. Hypothetically, we could use a flat fixed fee, or we could use a percentage, either way. But let's just say hypothetically we charge 25 cents. And then we multiply that times the 34.2 billion transactions, assuming we process all of those same transactions that, all of the other electronic payment processors are doing. Assuming, right? It's an assumption. Just so we can kind of get a bird's eye view of what the numbers and the revenue might be. So if we do that, that will generate about $8.5 billion in revenue, in fees. So V12 will earn about $8.5 billion in transaction processing fees, which is, if you notice, that's a lot less than $126 billion, a lot less. But even at that number, even with that massive savings passed on to all of the businesses in America, each V12 node owner would still make a paycheck of $203,000. So that means we would give back almost about $118 billion to businesses in the United States. So, I've written that down here. So we'd have an annual savings to businesses, $118 billion in savings. And the poll watcher services are free. Now the neat part is, if we use all of these mechanisms combined, you can really, hopefully I've explained it to you in a way that's easy to understand. Because it's very simple. There's a bunch of moving parts, but each of the moving parts is very simple. We just charge a transaction fee. We do it cheaper than Visa and MasterCard do it, and the banks. And we pass that fee along as revenue to the V12 node operators. So that's why you want to buy a V12 node, because hypothetically, assuming, let's say we all work together, and this is what I'm proposing. I'm proposing that all of the small businesses in America get together quick and just make the decision to get this thing operational, run it through testing so everyone's comfortable that it works the way that it should, because that's a critical part of doing any rollout. I've done a lot of big rollouts for a lot of big companies. I've done worldwide rollouts for big medical companies, medical device manufacturers, phone companies, you name it. That's what I've been doing my whole career. This is what I do. I roll out big systems, I manage the projects, I develop it, I do the whole shebang. That's what I've been doing for 30 years. That's how I can speak with confidence about this kind of stuff. So we test it, ring it out, make sure it works perfectly. We even have little things called automated test cases, and they automatically test all of the functionality, soup to nuts, making sure that it does exactly what it should do every time we put in a feature upgrade. And that's just all automatic. And then we roll it out as quick as we possibly can. Because the faster we roll this out, the faster all of you good people can make this $200,000 a year, and the faster we can save 99.9% of businesses in America. So the vast majority of businesses in America will get basically the equivalent of a rebate of $118 billion every year. That's a lot of cheddar. And on top of it all, going back to the budget, right? So how do we fix our national budget? How do we fix that? Well, before a budget can be put into place, it has to be approved by Congress and by the Senate and by the President, right? That's how our laws work. So it'll continue to work that way. I'm not suggesting we change it. But what I am suggesting we can do is we can use the poll watching system built into V12 to go back to the budget and hold our our politicians accountable. And I'm not saying we're going to take them to court or anything like that. It's not like that. I'm just saying we will all know if they kept their promise or if they broke it. And it'll be in black and white, irrefutable, no debating. There won't be any debate needed because we will have the data, and the data is encrypted and secured by a bulletproof process and bulletproof encryption. That's how. Just through freedom of the press. That's it. So again, we're just leveraging the power of free will, freedom of the press, and something I've heard people say, violence of action. So the only violence here is we take action. That's it. Peaceful action, lawful action, where we do the right thing for all of Americans, for the majority of Americans. But it will definitely, that will most certainly enable us to bring down this tax bill. Because I don't like taxes. I understand we got to pay them. That's fine. I don't recommend anyone, avoid paying your taxes. That would be illegal. That would be wrong. And I want to clarify, V12 does not enable anyone to do that. So just everything works the same way. You use the same books and all that kind of stuff you would use today. So you use the same point of sale system. We just plug in V12 and it becomes the payment processor. That's it. And then we have poll watching. So on election night, we don't have to turn to CBS or NBC or Fox or whomever. We don't have to trust those guys. We can trust a system that we all own and operate ourselves. And the source code is published. You can read it. You can take it to your friend, your neighbors, experts, and have them look at it. If you don't understand how to read or write computer code, you can do that. And then you can be assured that it does what we say it does. That way you've got security. It's totally transparent, above board. And the really cool thing about V12 is we cannot upgrade it. We cannot implement new code. In other words, we can't change the rules unless there is a valid vote by the citizens of these United States. So we follow, for all of these knobs that we twiddle that change how V12 works, because they're basically, it's what I like to call them, they're knobs. They're equivalent to knobs. You twiddle a knob, that changes the number, that changes how the system behaves. There's a few knobs. There's not a ton of them. There's a few. But we can't change any of those knobs, or in other words, we can't change the rules of how the system works without a legal and lawful vote of American citizens, which is handled through the V12 system itself. So it's a kind of a self-reinforcing, kind of a self-check that is verified and validated by we, the people of the United States. And it prevents corruption. No one can change it, not even me, even though I'm the architect of this whole system. I can't change it. I don't want to change it. Because if I could, then somebody else could bonk me over the head and change it. And I don't want that. I like my head. No bonks. So that's how it works. I mean, I hope I've broken it down in a simple way. It seems simple to me. Sometimes I go a little fast. So I'm going to hold a conference call tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Pacific because I want to get this thing online as fast as humanly possible. I've spent 5.5 years of my life learning how to do all this stuff. I've spent the last, I want to say like year and a half building it. It's taken a lot of effort. I've done this as a labor of love because I love my country, I love my freedoms, and I want my children to be free as well. So I started in the first video, I talked about my reasons for doing all of this. And it started with basically getting wrung through, strung out, kicked in the nuts in the family courts, or as I like to call them, the anti-family courts, because that's how I like to think of them, because there's nothing family-oriented about them, in my opinion at least. And when I went through that process, I just thought, this is horrifying. It's horrifying. It rips children away from their fathers, away from mothers. It tears families apart, and it leaves the parents destitute with no money. It drains them of their entire life savings, which, like I said, is the exact same thing as reaching back through time and stealing from them all the work they've done in the past up until now. Because that's what your life savings is. It's all the work you've done since you were young. And you accumulate it, and you save it, and you care for it, and you guard it, and protect it. And then with one swing of a gavel, an anti-family court judge can take everything from you, and even any other judge can do the same. That is wrong. That needs to stop. That's why I'm building this system. Now, they might not like it, but tough. I'm within my rights. I'm staying within the limits of the law. I'm not asking anyone to break any laws whatsoever, and I will not break any laws myself ever. So we can do it. It's easy. I've done the heavy lifting. The heavy lifting's done. Well, there is one more heavy lift that needs to be done, but that's what all of you amazing people can do. And since it takes just each one of you to say yes, that's all it takes. Each small business owner in America just has to look at it, evaluate it, understand it, take the time. Once you're comfortable with it, just say yes and do it. If we all do it together, they cannot shut us down. They cannot. We are protected by laws in this country, and that's what protects us. We can simply do it because it is our legal and lawful right to do so. So I'm asking you to help me do that. Help me set America free, please. And then if other countries want to adopt the same system, they are very welcome to. I will publish all of the source code. I'm publishing it online. It will be published online very soon. And that way, if any other country wants to adopt this, they are welcome to. But what I believe is our international neighbors should be left to decide that on their own. And I believe as Americans, we should stop interfering in foreign affairs and just be friends, for crying out loud. We should trade, do business with them, and just be friends. That's the most magical thing. It's the most simple thing. It's easy. We'd have far less war, because this financial system will help encourage that. If we enact, and then this system will help us to hold our politicians accountable, so we can hopefully together stop future wars. I'm tired of reading about wars. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of hearing about people dying and suffering. I went for a walk today and I saw, people on the street, sleeping on the street. And I'll be candid with you. If I don't get this thing to launch, I'll be on the street myself very soon. And I'm not saying that to elicit sympathy. It's just the reality of the situation. I made a conscious choice, and I'd do it again. The choice I made is to build the system, to get it online, and I've done that. It's ready. And now it is up to all of you good people to check it out, learn more about it, and adopt it. And I know if you just learn and see how it can benefit you, your families, your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, and all the people in the world, I know you will adopt this quickly, because this is the way, folks. This will work. It does work. The math is simple. The math is rock solid. The foundation of the platform is rock solid. It's bulletproof. So, made it this far. Thanks so much for listening. Have a nice day. Take care.